Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. So, we're going to talk about all this stuff going down with Somalians. So, they're all over TikTok, you know. Prior to the ICE raids, they were all over TikTok saying they were not black, they were Somali, they were Muslim, they were not black. They even separate themselves from other Africans on the continent. They even separate themselves from them. And some are on there saying that their phenotype is Caucasian, and some of them are blue black, and they're saying their phenotype is Caucasian. So, our people are like, we don't care. We're pretty much letting them know we don't care what you call yourself. At the end of the day, when ICE come to pick you up, ICE don't care what your phenotype is. You are in America. And America is not going to look at that melanated skin and call you Caucasian. I mean, and that is the truth. But we don't really care. We're just letting you know we don't care what you call yourself. When ICE come for that ass, they're not going to care what you call yourself. They going to get your ass on that plane and out of here. You're going back to Somalia. And I'm quickly learning other Africans don't like these people on the continent. They don't like them. They don't like them. I was even listening to another woman, and she was from Kenya. And she was pretty much talking to Donald Trump, saying, Donald Trump, please, whatever you do, send the Somalians back to Somalia. Send them to Mogadishu. She said, please don't send them to Kenya. We don't want them. We will protest in the streets if you drop Somalis off in Kenya. We don't want them. I'm like, whoa. I mean, really? Yeah, nobody likes them. You know? Now I understand why they're called the Nigerians of the East. They really are. Nobody likes these people for real. And even in Africa, they say they pretty much isolate themselves. And I just love how some of our people are letting them know, okay, you don't want to be black, don't be black. And they said, I just want you to know when ICE come out there, they just gonna see you as a nigga with a Jerry curl. Me, I don't care. At the end of the at the end of the at the end of the day, immigration is still not our problem. Whether it's the Somalis, the Latinos, or whoever, it is not our problem. I don't care. It ain't our problem. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the video so you can see the responses from our people and some of their people that acknowledge that they are black. And there's some of them are just gaslighting y'all. And some of them are serious. They're like, no, we are not black. We're not black. Well, see, on your continent, maybe that's the way you distinguish yourself. When you come to the West, they're going to use how they perceive people their way in the Western world. They're not going to look at the way Somalis perceive themselves. They're going to perceive you the way they see you in the Western world, whether you like it or not, you know? And the same thing happened to these Latinos. And, I notice one thing about these immigrants, they are not prepared for when these white people turn on them. It's almost like they are in a state of shock. And it's like they get in this state of shock that they can't get out of. Us, we are long past being shocked over the racism. We are long past it. But they get in it, and it just seems like they are just stunned by it. And I notice even to this very day, the Latinos don't even try to fight back. They are just stunned. And you see the same behavior in the Somalians. They are just shocked and stunned that somebody like Donald Trump is turning on them, and he's calling them garbage, and he's saying all these horrible things about them, and he wants them out of this country, and they're just so shocked and can't believe it. Man, we are so beyond that, it's not even funny. It's because we've been around these people for centuries. Nothing they do or say, we ain't even shocked by that crap anymore. But them, they are. They are. They don't know how to process it. Hold on, y'all. Let's see. Okay. So now that they're all over the place, by the way. Now that ICE is picking some of them up, and just like Ilhan Omar the other day, all of a sudden we're all black, and we're all black, and we just all need to unify. And and black people have been treated bad in this country for so long. You weren't talking like that before. I mean, come on, you know, don't gaslight us. We know the only reason why you're talking like that is because y'all think you can get us on your side. And, you've been insulting us for far too long. You can't get us on your side now. So, y'all, please give me a one if you can see my screen. Thank you. All right.
To my American people, do you find it bizarre that Ilhan Omar made the statement that we know that Trump don't like black Americans? Notice how they always try to clump us all together. You know, the foundational black Americans are trying to separate ourselves for this reason. Y'all came into our country, use all our benefits, clown all the black Americans. Oh, look at them. What we've been told is all we got to do is trash them over there. Just trash them. And we can join forces and have a good life. So you did that. Now, Trump is talking about deportation. The foundational black Americans are sitting here like, well, deport them all. We don't care. Why? Because there's no deportation for us. We can sit back, eat our popcorn, and laugh at you. So, Trump, please keep going. Do more. Get rid of them all. And then you got these simps and cucks out here, especially I can't stand when I see a black man, a black male. Look at them, they're dividing country, families, and look at them. This is wrong. Wait, this ain't right. This ain't right. Bro, do you realize that 20 million more, maybe more than that, came over here with a false pretense that they were going to get milk and honey when they came here? Essentially, they did. Freeloading off of our tax dollars. So while this simp, this cook out here, oh yeah, we can't do this. This is wrong. Numbnuts don't realize that they're actually using your tax dollars to freeload and get this milk and honey. So my question to these people that keep saying this stuff is, how come we can't have the milk and honey? How come we can't chill? How come we can't have a good life? How come we keep giving everybody else a good life, but every day we got to wake up and go to work, especially these blue-collar jobs, and our bones got to hurt every day? Come on, man. Y'all got to wake up, Biden.
And he was like, you guys don't assimilate to our culture.
They're always mad about something.
Yeah, they're always mad. I'm so sorry that we're not like assimilating to your victimhood because we don't come from that like type of culture.
You don't
We
come
came
from
here, built
fufu.
businesses, put people in governed positions and mayors and Congress people, and you're mad that we're able to do that in 30 years, and it took you guys 300 years to even be recognized as human beings. You were 1/5 of a freaking human being, and you're angry that we were able to do that in 30 years.
Wow. This kind of goes back to the live that I held last night. And I asked my brothers and sisters, my Black American brothers and sisters, have we lost our empathy for people outside the lineage, or are we no longer acting on our empathy? And we kind of came to the ultimate conclusion is we've never lost our empathy. We've always have empathy and we always will have empathy. The issue that we are coming across now is that we have come to the realization of other people don't give us that same empathy. They are more upset with Black Americans than they are their own leaders that endorsed Donald Trump.
Thank you, Salman, and good morning again. My name is Faisal Deri, and we're here gathered today with the community leaders, business leaders, and youth leaders from the Somali community and from the Muslim community in Minnesota. And we're gathered here today to fully support and endorse President Trump and JD Vance.
There's more.
Trump is not going to agree with everything that I have to say, nor do I agree with everything he has to say. But I fundamentally believe he is the safest bet for our country moving forward.
Black Americans are not your enemies, and we have never viewed you as enemies. But just like every other immigrant group in America, you have shown your true colors. You have shown your hatred that you have towards Black Americans when your focus should have been on Donald Trump and your leaders that sold you out. Your leaders that sold you false dreams, hopes, and realities, because that wasn't our leaders. That wasn't our ancestors. Our ancestors were fighting for hundreds of years just to be considered humans, as you said. You got here when times were fucking good. You left your country that's still at civil war to this day, and you bring that mess here. And the only reason you're able to be in this country is because of the fight of our ancestors and our leaders. So don't you ever disrespect us in our homeland. And I understand times are getting hard, times are getting murky. You never know what could happen. People are being deported, they're losing their citizenship. But your anger shouldn't be towards us because we fought. We have already fought hard enough. Once again, it should be towards Donald Trump and it should be towards your fucking leaders. And before I end this TikTok here, I didn't get to record the whole thing, but I did hear that last part. So I want you to let the chat know what you said as far as us being jealous because we have big ass fucking noses and synthetic hair. Let the chat know about that.
Look, y'all, I'm about to dead this comment. I'm about to dead it. Somali people know exactly where they come from, unlike some Black Americans who, due to history, may not have clear roots. You thought you ate, but you didn't. Let me tell you something. You are going off the colonial state of mind, brother. Black people in America know exactly where they come from. We know that we're exactly from America. Y'all the ones that think that we just got here 300, 400 years ago. But if you read your history, which I'm about to start giving y'all some history lessons on this live tonight, complete with pictures, references, and the $40,000 books where I get my facts. If you guys would drop your colonial state of mind and do research outside of what colonialism tells you to do, you would know that many, 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 many Black families have been here for thousands of years. Thousands. I'm not talking about hundreds. I'm talking about thousands. I'm talking about when British came to invade back in the 1200s, 1100s, thousands, the 900s. When Britain came to invade, they wrote books about it. They did maps about it. They drew pictures about it. We are from here. And that's the problem because y'all ain't willing to educate yourself. Y'all just willing to spew out some shit that white people didn't taught y'all, but that ain't even what it is, baby. My grandma, my particular grandma, her family been down there in Alabama for thousands of years before the invaders. Do you know how many families came to invade our prosperous land that you guys are acting like y'all don't know black people is from? Do you know? Do you know? 13 families. 13. It took 13 different invasions for us to get here. So y'all really need to educate yourself, because y'all just saying shit that y'all heard, and that's like proves that your mind is just like a receiver. It doesn't even go and find its own information to process. You know what I'm saying? And that's what American education to get you, baby. That's what a colonialized education to get you. But if you research, follow me. Matter of fact, you don't gotta follow me. I'm gonna do the research and show you the references, baby. Because I'm so tired of this comment. Black people don't know where they're from due to their history. The thing about it is, black people's history is in their DNA. We're remembering more and more shit every day. We're finding more and more shit every day. Black people, hundreds of us, have researched on our own time. Yeah, I got an associate's degree. Yeah, I got a bachelor's degree. But guess what I've been doing for the last 20 years? Researching my bloodline, researching the history of this planet, researching physics. You need to research all types of shit to figure out if black people know what they're talking about, because we do. And yes, there are, I'm not gonna like say like, oh, there's no black people that came over here 400 years ago and was in slavery. Yes, they were. And I don't think they should get reparations, but I'm gonna talk about all that on my live tonight at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I hope you're there. I'll be bringing every book I've ever read. I'll be dropping every piece of knowledge. I'll be letting you guys know about all the traps that they're setting up for you. Be there or be square or be dumb. And let me add this little bit of fact in there for you. Y'all be screaming, Somalis know where they're from. Somalis know where they're from. Somalis know where they're from, but they don't. Did you know that? They don't. They don't. You know how many times Somalia's been invaded and the people have been dragged somewhere else on that continent? Do you know how many times that country's been invaded? The people there right now are a mix of Arabs and Black and Asian. Did you know that? That's how many times. That doesn't make them Somalian. Did you know that? That doesn't make them Somalian. That makes them a lost tribe, clinging on to the invaders, like the invaders' nationality, what the invaders called them, what the invaders told them they are. So y'all really need to dead that, because around smart, foundational Black Americans, that should sound like puppy child. We gonna eat it up every time. I'll see y'all at 5.
Not to be nosy, but I saw this comment on one of my mutuals, Hawk's videos, and I had to interject, because what the fuck are you talking about, bro? So for context, the video in question is talking about ICE targeting Somalis in Minnesota, right? And Hawk is saying essentially that ICE is now targeting Black people. And broski Coco, what the fuck? Coco Maisha, whatever. Anyway, this person is basically saying Somalians are not Black people, right? Black is a label given to indigenous people of America. We are not the same at all. If you want to sit here and say that Somalians are not African American, you'd be 100% correct. They're not. But to sit there and say they're not Black is incorrect, because look at them. Black is not just something that refers to African Americans. It encompasses everyone within the diaspora. I'm Nigerian American. I'm Black. If you're an African American, you're Black. Somali American, Black. Also, there's also the second part of your comment that is even more ridiculous and egregious. Black is a label given to the indigenous people of America. Do they know that? Do the Native Americans know that we're calling them Black people now? Like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Like, African Americans or Black people are not indigenous to this country. White people aren't indigenous to this country. The only people indigenous to the North American continent are Native Americans. That's it. Those are the only people who are indigenous to these lands. If you are anything other than a Native American, you're not indigenous to this country. Not white people, not Black people, not nobody. And it's that simple. I thought this was common knowledge. What the fuck are you talking about?
So, anywho, say what y'all want to say about Trump. But as I have said before, he out here doing the Lord's work. Okay. Like, yeah, he causing a whole lot of chaos and stuff in America. But from the perspective of the Black American community, Trump is honestly and truthfully delivering karma to so many groups of people that were anti-Black American. So many groups of people that came here had the nerve and the audacity to be xenophobic towards us, who had the audacity to join in on the racism towards us. Folk who would run around and be like, "Oh, Black Americans have a victim mindset. Black Americans are jealous of us because we came here and we did this and we did that." Da 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 da. Now a lot of these groups are starting to see how America really fucking work. And what get me is so many of them run around and start crashing out. Oh my gosh, how could they do this? How could they do this? So y'all didn't learn nothing from the people, and it's so crazy because they'll be like, "Oh, because they didn't do this in 300 years." Da 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 da. Baby, the Reconstruction era, right? That's not even during slavery, Black Americans had free societies and free towns and things like that. The Reconstruction era was post emancipation, literally 10 years after emancipation. Black Americans established businesses, homes, neighborhoods, towns, had politicians and government, et cetera, et cetera. And they came and shut all that shit down by simply orchestrating a smear campaign against Black Americans to tear down what Black Americans were doing. And I find it fascinating that every single one of these groups are now experiencing the American system doing the same thing to them. But they don't see it, right? They not clocking that shit. They're not clocking it. And the thing about it is that the American system is not going to feel bad. Trump and them, Megan, they don't feel fucking bad. I'm pretty sure they somewhere thinking the same thing. Y'all asses should have listened to Black Americans when Black Americans told y'all this shit. Black Americans was telling y'all the right shit the whole time. Y'all the ones ran around, took upon yourself to say they victimizing themselves. They have a victim narrative when really we were giving y'all true ass fucking American history lessons for free. For the free. We was giving y'all true ass Black American history lessons, true ass American history lessons, true ass motherfucking game. We was doing nothing but giving y'all good game to let y'all know, hey, this ain't what you think it is. Hey, this how it really work. And y'all ain't listen. Now y'all want to get on here and crash out every time Trump get up here and send the dogs after you. Every time y'all see he want to sit up here and tear down everything that you built, tear down all the hard work that you did. Y'all wasn't the first motherfuckers to come here and work hard. We're the first motherfuckers to come here and work hard. Y'all weren't the first motherfuckers to come here and establish it and be doctors, lawyers, and et cetera, et cetera. We the first motherfuckers to come here and do that. And we was giving y'all real shit. We was telling y'all the truth. We're telling y'all the truth. So to be honest, as cold-hearted as it seems, I don't feel bad for the Somali. I don't feel bad for what happened with the Latino. I don't feel bad about any of these other group of folk that this shit is happening to. Y'all need to learn how to listen. Because one thing about it is God is fair and God will humble you regardless of whatever God you serve. God will humble you. God will humble you. Because what happened was y'all were sent messengers, but y'all shot the messenger. Okay. So I'm gonna mind my minute on this season of America. Okay. Because one thing about it, baby, these motherfuckers around here will show you better than they can tell you. Okay. Will show you better than they can tell you. Y'all ain't got nobody to be mad at but yourselves. That's the truth. Have a good day.
Do people always have misplaced anger when it comes to Black Americans? So I'm talking about how I see a lot of Somali people mad with Black Americans at their response to what is currently happening. But at the same time, I don't see those same people making videos about that white woman that called child the N-word at Cinnabon and said that she was openly racist. A lot of Black Americans have still had solidarity with them during this situation, but some of us just do not care. But you cannot be mad at Black Americans for not getting into your fights when that's not our fight to even get in.
the same group of people who use microaggressions when speaking about Black Americans, like they are exempt from something. And now they are actually seeing the treatment that Black Americans have been talking about for decades, but they never wanted to believe it. They always thought it was our issue as to why we were being treated the way that we were being treated. I don't like diaspora wars. I feel like a person who is racist is going to treat all of us the same. If you are not of a certain ethnicity, of a certain race, they are not going to like you regardless. But for some reason, certain racial groups think that they are better than Black Americans, and they think that any type of treatment that Black Americans get is because of how they act. When no, they're racist. They don't like you either.
So I've gotten this comment a couple of times. And if I am missing something, I'm open to learning more about that, obviously. I made a video, you can watch the video that I made where I said that Donald Trump and Stephen Miller and ICE are specifically targeting Black people now in the United States because they are launching renewed ICE raids against Somali communities in Minneapolis. And Minneapolis has the largest population of Somali people in the United States. And I referred to Somali people as Black. And if I am wrong on that, please let me know. Not to like defend against that or anything, but do you think Donald Trump makes a distinction between the two groups? Do you think Stephen Miller does? And I would be curious. I mean, look how they treat Ilhan Omar, you know, and she's a member of Congress. You know, and it's like, I doubt that racists in the United States will make any kind of distinction whatsoever between people from Somalia or Black people from the United States. They are only looking at skin color. In their official policy for this government now of remigration, the Department of Homeland Security put out a tweet last weekend. Hang on, let me look it up. Yeah. So on November 20th, the Department of Homeland Security on their official Twitter account, they put, "The rent is too high. There are tens of millions of criminal illegals in our country. Groceries cost too much. There are tens of millions of criminal illegals in our country. There aren't enough jobs. There are tens of millions of criminal illegals in our country. Women don't feel safe walking down the street. There are tens of millions of criminal illegals in our country. Traffic is terrible. There are tens of millions of criminal illegals in our country. Healthcare is too expensive." Same line. "I can't afford a car." Same line. "I can't afford a house." Same line. There are tens of millions of criminal illegals in our country. And they closed it with many problems, a simple answer. A week later, the Department of Homeland Security posted to the same Twitter account, "The stakes have never been higher and the goal has never been more clear. Remigration now." Remigration is literally another word for ethnic cleansing. And so the people who are in charge of these policies and practices in the United States, and again, if I'm making an error by referring to Somali people as Black people, please let me know. I'm more than happy to acknowledge that. I have zero knowledge of Somali culture. I don't know anything about the country of Somalia, other than that it's been through some really, really rough times over the last few decades. Hence the reason why we have large populations of Somali refugees in the United States. But the people who are in charge of implementing these policies are not going to make a distinction at all. They want everybody who is not white out of this country. That is what remigration means. Remigration, which is now the official policy of this government and the Department of Homeland Security, means ethnic cleansing of non-white people, which is fucking horrifying.
No, Black Americans are American. They are not African. The vast majority of Black Americans living here today are American descendants of slavery. And because of this legacy of slavery, their connections to Africa are so distant and they have been severed that they do not have any real connections to it today. Nationality wise, culture wise, and everything else, they are American, not African. In fact, even the concept of ethnicity, their ethnicity would be Black American, not some form of African. And no, race does not make them African. Race is a social construct and it's a pseudoscientific one at that. Not to mention, all human beings have their origins in Africa, depending on how far back we go. So, this entire concept of what we have to consider the Blacks African is just racism. Black Americans are American just like I am an American. I am not a European American. I have literally no connections to Europe at all. I am American, and so are Black Americans. Quit trying to divide people by the color of their skin, and instead, let people identify as they please.
Most of the people that we meet, especially African Americans, they don't even know their fathers. They don't even know their fathers. It was all of them, most of them were the product of one night stand. One night stand. They will tell you, I don't know my father. Well, who named you? Whose name are you carrying? Well, my mother chose his name for me. I don't know. Is that what we want for our ummah? No. كلهم أو معظمهم أبناء الزنا. أبناء الزنا. Why? Because man, he has to give up the seed. And because the marriage will limit them, they will go from one to another to a third. You know, subhanAllah, it's one of the African American.
It's true. Donald Trump about to deport mad Somalians. But they're going to be all right. Because they got close-knit families. They didn't come from one-night stands, you know? And plus, they not Black, so they're going to figure this shit out. Somalians is going to be all right. They got their own country. Very prosperous. And Somalia got a lot of what's the name? And plus, they known to do what they do. You know what I mean? So Somalians are gonna be all right. They didn't grow up like us. They're gonna be cool.
Yes, I do think they can tell the difference, first of all. Second of all, if this is true, that we're all African American in their eyes, how come African Americans have not been being deported? It's been a year and they've been deported, everybody and their mama, but Black Americans have not gotten deported. Why not? I'm asking, like, seriously, how come from the very beginning of the year, January, we a whole year that Trump been in office, and the Latinos got caught up first, then they had the Haitians was getting caught up, all these people. Now Somalians are getting caught up in the deportations. They deported hundreds of thousands of people. Not one Black American. Explain it. Explain to me why people keep saying that Black Americans are inevitably going to be deported with everyone else, but it hasn't happened so far. What are they waiting for? What is Trump waiting for? What is the administration waiting for? Because if you think that Black Americans are in the same boat as everybody else, then how come we ain't in the same boat as everybody else back to the country? Where are they going to send us? Where do you think they're sending us? At the very least, this is a problem that they haven't been able to solve. Black Americans and being able to deport us is a problem. So if it's a problem, if it's harder for them to deport us than it is to deport everyone else, obviously, because we're not immigrants, then they haven't figured it out how to do it yet.
They haven't figured out where they were going to send us. They haven't figured out how to get us out of here and who's going to take us. They haven't figured it out. So tell me why. Why do you think that they're going to deport Black Americans, first of all? And second of all, how come they haven't done it yet?
Part two of my question to Somalis refugees in America. After you went to all this country and nobody could take you in, the United States took you in, and all you can do is to try to tear their country apart. All you do is to steal from them. All you do is to put your religion on them. Meanwhile, not taking into consideration that there are other African refugees here. You muddy the water for every other refugees. You come over here as a refugee, but you fail to realize that it's not a right, it's a privilege. Yes, when somebody open their doors to you and say, come and live in my house, that the same way they open the door, they also have the right to kick you out. It's not a right, it's a privilege. You are not African American. You were refugees. You were refugees. Even your children born here can be deported because the citizenship law was not passed for you. It was passed for the African American and their ancestors and their children. So you and I having it is a privilege. It's not a right.
I got a question for you. Are you Black or Somali?
Huh?
Would you class yourself Black or Somali?
I'm Black because
people will be like, I'm Somali, I'm not Black.
Okay,
And
I'm from
I see you lot as
I'm
Black.
from Somalia, yeah.
But you are
Black.
Black, no?
But I am Black.
But there's a lot of people Black. No, I'm not Black. I'm Somali.
I never really understood that. I'll be honest.
don't
with you.
understand.
And I don't really like when. No, the point I was trying to make was about the being Black or Somali. Those two don't even correlate. You know what I mean? One is a country and one is just skin color, bro. That's just the way I look at it. I don't know.
That's like you saying to me, are you British or are you white?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Do you know what I mean? You know, I'm gonna probably get a lot of backlash for this, but hey, allow me. You know what I mean?
Okay, y'all. You know, if you go over on TikTok, ever since Donald Trump been snatching them up, Somalis have miraculously turned black over the last few days after putting a series of videos out saying they're not black. They're not black. Somali not black. Somali not black. Now we all black. We all black. Okay, you know. I said, y'all just as bad as the Latinos. But one thing I'm glad many of our people are putting videos out saying we're staying out of the whole thing. The damage is done. Y'all done said a lot of things that it's at the point of no return. We lazy. We're Jareer. You know, you've insulted us. We're lower than you. We're this. We're and y'all came over here insulting us from day one. So, no, you don't get to turn around and try to talk to us now that you're in trouble. And I'm glad our people are taking that position. And I'm really surprised. I even listened to another African woman, and she was even saying in her video, Black Americans don't help them. Don't help Somalis. Don't help them. I'm like, whoa, you know? Yes. And this woman was African living here. And she said, they're so nasty, even other Africans can't stand them. And she was saying on her video, Black Americans don't help Somalis. Don't help them. I'm like, wow, that bad, huh? So oh, well, y'all are on your own. It really don't matter what you do or say. Just like the Latinos, they burnt their bridges with us a long time ago. So by the time the deportations happened, those bridges were long burnt. You know, there's no turning back now. And it's the same with the Somalis. Y'all burnt those bridges with us a long time ago. You know, it is gone. There is no salvaging any kind of relationship because there was never one to begin with. So, and that's really for all of you groups out there. Now I hear the Asians are trying to chastise their people for being racist towards Black Americans. They're trying to chastise their folks. It's really a day late and a buck short for all of you groups out here now. If you really wanted to do something, you had decades to stand with us. And y'all all systematically came over here and chose white supremacy. All of y'all did. And I think what was the biggest insult was Black people from the continent coming over here and using white supremacist talking points on us, calling us lazy. I mean, that was the biggest insult of them all. And then some brown person talking about go back to Africa. I said, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Nah, there is not one single immigrant group that can really get us on your side now. Mm-mm. Y'all all came over here and had no problem going against us, even when we did absolutely nothing to any of you. We didn't do nothing to none of you. We literally did not do anything to none of you, and you all took that white supremacist position. Every single one of you. So I don't care which one of them they grab. I don't care. I'm staying out of it. I'm staying out of it. We'll just see you get aboard the plane and get sent back to your country. We'll be kicking our feet up and grabbing the popcorn and our favorite beverage and watch you leave. That's all. There is nothing for us to do. We're not taking to the streets and taking no rubber bullets for you. We're not doing none of that stuff. You're on your own. Get out there, Somalia, and fight ICE because we're sure not doing it for you. Get on out there. You're on your own. The damage is done. And y'all were the nastiest of them all. I would say you and the Latinos are neck and neck in how nasty you have been towards us. So good luck dealing with ICE. Good luck. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. This is my final live stream, so we'll do this all over again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your night. Shalom, family.